Alright, so welcome back to part 2 of the review, and we're going to actually get this guy transformed into his robot mode. I will say that going from his vehicle to his robot's a little bit easier than the other way, but neither of them is particularly difficult. We're going to start by unpegging this, and it's really easy to forget that that thing is pegged in, and it will ruin your entire day if you're not careful. After you have that, we can go ahead and kind of split the legs apart here, fold this out and down, and fold this all the way around, like so. Once we've got that, we'll go ahead and we'll split these up, and first thing we're going to do is take this little black piece, and we're going to rotate this all the way in, so it's completely 180 in the other direction. And you gotta take this, and this is the part that I'm not a super big fan of, but I don't feel anything's gonna break. Both going out and in, it's a very tight connection there, friction connection. So push those wheels on in, whoops, and see, if you don't do this right, you'll end up smacking the wheel into the part of his thigh. So be careful about that, and yeah, make sure you rotate that in first. Then you can close that up. Once you have that, this guy, I see a lot of complaints about getting him to stand. Out of the box, he comes with these little black flaps up, and if you do, no chance you're going to make them stand because the wheels just rotate. So what you need to do is push them in here, and then while you kind of have your finger on the side here, rotate this thing down. Now as it rotates down, it does kind of slide out a little bit, not a whole bunch. And I know Skullface says for him it works best at 45. I go all the way down to 90 here. And what that ends up doing is it does bow the wheel out just a tiny bit. Let's see if I can show it from this angle here. So this is all the way in, and with the lever up in the back. And then as I push this thing down, see how it drops the wheel a little and then puts a slight angle on it? Like, I know Skullface says it pushes his out a lot. Mine barely goes anywhere. And then what ends up happening is you can see right here, the front of the thigh there, or I'm sorry, the shin actually makes contact with the rubber tire. And now this is locked in place. I can, you know, outside of his knee joint, I can hold him in place by this. Once you do that, that stops the wheel from actually rotating when it's used as a foot. So again, we'll bring this all the way down. You can see it bowed out just a tiny bit. And there we go. Aside from the fact that he's still wobbling, he stands, well, now he doesn't want to stand, of course, but he stands just fine. I've gotten him in a variety of poses. Once the wheels lock, really not a problem, especially when the rest is transformed. So you take this, and then you get in here, and this is a little bit tough to get out. And it is definitely nice to see because I didn't think that this piece was here in the prototype pictures, and I thought we were going to have a big wide open ugly hollow leg. But fortunately they have a little panel that, just a tiny little panel, fills in the big gap, and suddenly the back of the leg doesn't look nearly as bad. So take this again, like that, fold it all the way around, peg it in, done. Perfect. So now we'll actually go ahead and do his waist properly so things actually work. We have to unplug from his hands here, and then this piece folds all the way up to the front here. As you can see, we're going to now end up changing the center of gravity on this toy, and again, he still stands pretty much fine, even with that extra back heft on him. Finally, something. Anyway, so we got that. We're going to take this and we'll just split these apart like so. And now I see people complaining, and let me get up here so you can see, about how when you get here there's tolerance issues with this piece here. More prevalent when you actually go to the vehicle mode from robot mode. Again, it's not a problem I experience as you bring this on out, so it's going to kind of interfere with things. What I do on this is I fold this on in like this, because that piece that interferes is now completely clear of the entire side of the car. So it seems like it's the same thing with Salmore. If you position things one specific way, you end up freeing up all the little like tolerance issues that people seem to complain about. And that was the case with those little shoulder pieces on Salem where you flip things one way and it didn't bind at all. It seems like this is exactly the same thing. So you can see they just easily cleared at this point. We're going to take these wheels, unconnect them from the top of the car, and you can flip this all the way around so the chrome pieces in the front and the wheels are on his shoulders basically in the back, like this and like this. Now we'll take these little pieces down, and this is where the fun begins, in my opinion. Take them, flip them all the way around. Actually, the whole toy is fun, I'm just lying. Anyway, yeah, you've got this going on now. Take this, you can free the seat out of the cockpit there because we need to have it at the top there. Maybe. And I'll show you what I mean. So, the next part here, per the instructions, the official way is to rotate this down, and then you kind of got this little swivel here. Make sure that it feeds through, kind of like the Seeker cockpit, through that top there. And we wanted to rotate this all the way around first. I forgot to do his waist. My apologies there. There we go. So you got this, and you can see that that fits back through around the back of him. And then we'll take this piece here, and we'll split this out. And then the only thing that even kind of a little bit bugs me, because it's such a small oversight, like we made these panels, there should have been a little flip out panel here to flip his fists out here. Instead we just have the hollow. For my particular version, I don't know, it's not, I mean for my version, my opinion, it's not a huge problem. It's the same thing that Masterpiece B has. But since I'm never viewing them from the back, I can get by with it. And as you can see, stands like a champ. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty big impact on my whole table that's already leaning backwards to make them fall over. So, yeah. Now one thing I'm going to point out in the regular video, if you've watched it, you already know this part. But if you're not seeing it, one thing that's interesting to me about this guy is we could take this out, and if you prefer the more G1 look, you can take these and fold them on out and still close it up. And now you've got much more of a G1 cartoon Mirage abdomen, I guess you call it, and it actually makes them a more blocky proportion, which some people probably like compared to, you know, Sideswipe and stuff. The only thing I would do personally, you know, the only thing I wish, which this is just a nice bonus feature, is that this like pushed in just a tiny bit to make them maybe just slightly graduated down. But yeah, that's a nice extra feature. Alright, so let's get Mirage back to his vehicle mode and let's get out of here. We're going to start by undoing his chest here. Make sure that we don't have these panels closed in on themselves. And when I bring this up, mine doesn't really peg in very solidly here, but once he's in car mode, everything fits fine. So don't, you know, mess with the fact that this is not completely lined up yet. Unfold those here. The next step is going to be, for me, I fold these pieces in first. And they just kind of like twist and go around each other and fold up into the sides there, like so. Then I always flip this so I have this the right way. Now I take this and I flip this around all the way as best I can, and then peg in your tire, because then you can kind of rotate this shoulder piece as you need to make this connection secure. And when you make that in, it does peg in, and when you get these in, that's what's going to close up this gap. So again, bring this around like that, bring this up. Notably, the instructions for this toy are terrible because they really don't explain the foot thing very well. Come down here, take this, fold the fist in, fold the fist in, and now, like I said, if you were to just try to fold this in like this, you get caught up on this piece. So this is where you have to Again, bend it here when you're folding it in, and then you can kind of fold it around and past that joint, and again, no problem. So take this white piece, fold it on in. You may have to pull this out, but once you've already cleared that space, not a big deal. So kind of make that flat, and it's going to tab in there when we're done, but we're going to do the other arm just to get that done. So again, turn it like that, fold it past where it needs to be, and fold it on in. And then fold this guy on up. Again, we'll pull it out a little just for the clearance. Push it on in, and then give this a nice little push on the arms from the top of the car here, like that. That's going to make that all real sturdy. The next thing to do, and it's going to help make this even more solid, unpeg the waist here, bring it all the way around, and you can see you have the two little tabs on the arms here. Take that, hold this in place so it's fitting nicely, and clip it on in. And you can see now the whole front of the car is solid. You can see I've now lost that gap for the most part. There's maybe a tiny bit there, but yeah, it's solid. So you can take this and we'll close this thing on up again. Now we're going to come to the legs. Take this black panel, fold it all the way around. All the way around. Fold these up first, like this, and then pull the wheel out. And the instructions aren't really clear that there's a click, so you think you have this and things catch. No. Grab this leg and give it a good pull, and it will clip into place. It does feel a little excessive, but so far nothing feels like it's going to break, and it seems easier after every try. So there we go. And I do recommend put a hand on the black piece here, so you're not just pulling on this screw hoping that, you know, it doesn't stress any plastic. So once you've got that, now we take this black piece again and we flip it 180 degrees to the back on both sides here. Again, something that the instructions are entirely miserable on explaining. Because it comes with these up like this out of the box, I had a heck of a time trying to fold the leg in and couldn't figure out why I was having problems. So you take this now and you telescope this on down and in upon itself on both sides here. Once we have that, everything is pretty much lined up. We're not going to push on the wheels because we don't want them to go back in, but you got plenty of places that you can kind of grab and peg everything together to two hands, the back of the car, the top portions of the car. Make sure that your spoilers line up because that will hinder everything from plugging in tight. And if it hasn't happened in the process, just kind of push this all forward and you'll pretty much remove all the gaps from here. And then lock it in place with the top part of the car. And there we go. Our Invisible is back to his vehicle mode, aside from the seat that we just did. And he's looking great. So I highly recommend this toy, but I highly recommend you check everybody else out to make sure that I don't have the outlying awesome one and everybody else has the outlying or the normal bad ones. I don't think that's the case, but whatever. That's my opinion. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next week.